further ado, let's get started with this. So the first segment of the show is going to be the Show Us Your Face. And our picture today is from Greg Sharma in Key West. Let's just say he was trying to avoid some of the bathroom fees over here. So if you guys want your picture for the Show Us Your Face segment on the show, send us a picture at photos@cruiseweek.tv and we'll make sure to select your wonderful picture among the many to be on the show. Let us know where the picture was taken and send us your name too so we can give you some more insight. So today we have Pippa coming from us all the way from Australia. She is a former crew member, and I have so many questions to know what it's like to be a crew member on different ships. You see them all the time, but you really don't kind of grasp what they have to do behind the scenes and what it's like for them to do for their free time. Again, if you guys have any questions for myself or a guest tonight, send them in the comments below and we'll try to get to them later on. Without further ado, let's bring Pippa in. Good morning!
Good morning, good evening.
So it's 8 o'clock Eastern time here on December 17th. What time is it over there?
It is 11 a.m. on Sunday the 18th.
Nice. Is it going to be a good day so far? Any fortunes to tell us?
It's a beautiful day outside. Bit of cloud, but very nice.
Nice. And I understand you're going to a party later on too, right?
I am. I'm going to a Christmas party and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Nice. Me too. I cannot wait to get to this party for myself too. So let's not keep you up too long. We got a lot of questions to ask you today. So first one today comes from Kim Rodby. I would like to know more about the truth of how many hours these hardworking people actually put in each week, and if there's actually a maximum hour that they can get per day.
Wow, exactly. They work so long hours, hard. For myself, I worked in the casino. We would not get a day off, and you would, on average, work 60 to 70, 75 hours a week. And so that's just me in the casino. So you've got your cabin stewards, your dining staff. They do not get a day off. They work split shifts and very long hours. So yeah, absolutely. You can imagine the amount of hours, and everyone's there to work,
Yeah.
but they work very hard.
Do you get overtime for doing, over 40 hours a week, or how does that work?
No, not at all. You get paid per day, per month. It doesn't matter how many hours you actually put in that day. You just get a set amount.
Hmm. So what is Skylar Rose asked, what's your first stay like on the ship?
It's very overwhelming, especially if you've actually never seen a cruise ship before, to come across this huge vessel. You go on board, you hand over your passport for the duration of your contract, so you won't see your passport again. And then you have to do a lot of orientation for that first week on board. You do probably 5, 6 different training exercises, as well as doing the actual work that you've come on board to do. So you're doing training for evacuations, for safety, for things like that. So it's very full on when you first get on board a ship.
So how much free time do you really have if you work 80 almost hours a week?
Depending on your position is whether you have a lot of time off or not. So you have different levels. You have officers, which are the people that wear the nice suits. You have the staff, which are sort of casino, gift shop. You have those different levels. And so as working in the casino is always closed during port time. So we always have that time off, which is fantastic. Same with the gift shop. It's not open, But say in the spa, they're open every day, regardless whether they're
Hmm.
import or not. So it just luck of the draw of the job, I guess.
Do your jobs kind of rotate around at all, or do you have like a fixed job for the whole entire contract on the ship?
That's the beauty of it. What I've worked on the cruise ship, you are multitasking
Could you
constantly.
actually repeat
You
your
are,
question? Your audio kind of cut out a little bit. Sorry.
that's right. Where was I up to? So depending on, yeah, I've forgotten the question.
The question was, do you have one fixed job for your whole entire contract on the ship, or can your job kind of change in different segments?
Okay, so yeah, you have your big job, your initial job,
Hmm.
but then you also have other things that you have to do. So it might be that you have to stay on board during the port days and help out. Just being on board the ship.
Hmm.
On the embarkation days, you have to stay on board and sort of direct passengers where to go, help them find their cabin. So there are other jobs that you do, and then all the
Hmm.
safety aspects where we have boat drill for the crew. So even though the passengers have their mandatory boat drill, the crew also have to have their own boat drill every week as well to just keep with the safety and keep that all up to date and know what we're doing.
Nice. Patty Martin asks, how long are the typical contracts?
Great question. Depending on, again, your position, they could
Hmm.
be 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, and some even 12.
Hmm. So Kelly Brewer asks, how often are crew members allowed off ports? We see them out, but just kind of curious how frequent it is.
Yep, so if you're not working, you can get off port at any time. So
Hmm.
a lot, you sort of get off and run to get the free Wi-Fi or go out to have lunch for something different. So yeah, any chance we can get, or for myself, I would always get off the ship and go and explore.
Hmm. Does everyone on the ship have a passport, and is it needed to kind of be a crew member?
Absolutely, you need to have a passport and yeah, like I said, you have to hand it over when you get on board. To work on board a cruise ship, you need to
Hmm.
get a special visa, which is a C1D visa, and that gives you that ability to work on board cruise ships.
So how do you guys get through a lot of immigration in different ports? Is that pretty difficult, or what are the different standards of that? And do they
Yep,
use the
so
IDs?
yeah, again, with the US Coast Guard, that you've got to clear
Hmm.
customs coming into America. The crew have to do it as well. So we have to get up early, even though we might have worked till 4 in the morning. Then we've got to
Hmm.
go through the customs at sort of 6 in the morning to clear the ship. In Russia, is they you actually get handed your passport back, and you
Hmm.
have to have your passport with you when you're traveling in Russia. That's the only place that I know of that does that. Everywhere
Hmm.
else is just you get a special little card, and that's basically your passport while you're on board the ship for your contract.
Nice. We got some questions from Periscope from Cruising Cat. How are the crew cabins, and usually how many people are in per cabin?
Great question. They are definitely smaller than the
Hmm.
passenger cabins. Depending on your position, again, a lot of officers have their own cabin, which is fantastic. A lot of staff have to share. Normally, it's two to a cabin, and crew there can be up to 4 people in a cabin. So you've got to really hopefully get along with the people that you share a cabin with, that no one snores or sort of sleepwalks, sleep talks. So it's definitely going into an unknown when you
Hmm.
get on board a cruise ship.
So been hearing a couple different stories from some people about a cleaning or inspection day. What's that all about?
Yep, so even though we're grown adults, there's still a cabin inspection. So you're not
Hmm.
allowed to have food in your cabin for good reasons. You
Hmm.
don't want rodents and cockroaches in your cabin. But you've got to remember this is where you live. So the the our restaurant, the Mess, is only open for certain times
Hmm.
throughout the day, and if you're hungry not during those times, then you miss out. You can't eat. So
Hmm.
you will have some snacks in your cabin, but you're not meant to.
So what happens if you just hate your cabin buddy or your roommate? Are you able to switch with other people, or how does that work?
Oh, I don't know. I've never had it happen.
Hmm.
Um, I'm sure it would if it had to be for the harmony of the department.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So, but no, I got along with all my cabin mates,
Nice.
especially my last one.
Hmm. I've lived with roommates for quite a while, and I've had my share of roommates, so it's definitely kind of frustrating at some points. Have you ever had any frustrating moments, or is it like pretty family-like, or how would you kind of describe living together with these people for so long?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's such a beautiful community, family, absolutely. And even though you're all in the one boat,
Hmm.
and you just go for a walk, but you can't get far. It's like if you're in a relationship with someone on board a cruise ship, they say it's like double the amount of time living on land, because
Hmm.
for every 1 year that you're with someone together on the land, it's 2 years
Hmm.
on the ship, because you're in each other's pockets literally.
Yeah.
You can't really escape them. So, but it
So
worked out well for me.
you've talked about some romance on the ship. So what happens if a crew member becomes pregnant on the ship, or they need to be like have birth or get delivered? What happens in that? Have you ever experienced something?
I had a friend that did become pregnant, but she left sort of in the like 3 4 month period.
Hmm.
I haven't heard of any. I don't think that they would allow anyone that was sort of more than 6 months pregnant to be working
Hmm.
on board the ship.
Does that break contract at all?
Um, I think both. Like, I don't think you can't work with a baby
Hmm.
on the ship, so I think that the person would opt out anyway.
We have a couple more questions coming in. This one's from Mike Strike. Are the crew cabins mixed or segregated male female?
Yeah, they're definitely segregated males and females.
Hmm.
Yes.
This one's from Anthony Franklin. Do you guys get seasick, or do you feel trapped on the boat for so long at times, or do you kind of just get used to it?
Okay, sorry, Matt. I'll have to just rewind there though.
Hmm.
I met my husband on board a cruise ship, and we did share a cabin. So
Ooh, nice.
yeah, you can have opposite sex share a cabin. Um, and we were known, like, that's when you sort of commit, and they call it couple, and
Hmm.
you get to share a cabin. So that's why I loved my last cabin mate, because it was my future
Hmm.
husband, and you knew going onto a new ship who my cabin mate was going to be, and so that's a great relief. And as far as seasickness, I
Hmm.
was only ever seasick once. It was in the Gulf of Alaska, and it was on a very small ship compared to these days. It was only 30,000 tons,
Hmm.
and big storm, and the captain gave out certificates saying, "Congratulations, you survived the storm." So, yeah.
So it sounds like you've been to a lot of different ports. We have a question from Patty Martin asking, how many different countries have you sailed to?
Oh, great question. I really would think over 100, um, throughout South Pacific, Australia, Asia, India, Africa, Kenya, through the Suez Canal to Egypt, to Mediterranean, Russia, and then Canada, America, Caribbean, which is
Hmm.
beautiful, and Alaska, the West Coast. Yeah, so a lot of places. And I got to travel for free because I was actually getting paid to do it. So very nice.
That kind of brings me into my next question asked by Sani Odir. She asked, what's the incentive about working on a cruise ship? What would you say yours was?
Yeah, mine was definitely travel, a safe environment. There's no way I would have gone to Russia or to Egypt traveling myself,
Hmm.
but being on board a ship, being there for a couple of days at a time, or it was a great way to travel, see the world, earn money, and yeah, I can't highly recommend it enough
Hmm.
if that's what you want to do. But saying that, you'll either, within the first probably month, you'll know whether you love it or hate it.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, you'll probably do like one contract. And if you love it, you'll probably be there for 5 or 10 years. So,
So with being on the ship, I'm assuming your room and board is included. So can you make a decent living just by working on cruise ships as an American? Because I know that might change a bit depending on what country of origin you come
yeah, well, there's not a lot of Americans that are
from.
working on board. I believe that's because you have to pay your tax. When I
Hmm.
was working on board, I didn't have to declare the money I earned, didn't have to pay tax on it, and
Interesting.
the exchange rate was absolutely awesome, 2 to 1. So I did get to save a lot of money, and I did very well. But now Australians do have to declare their income, so they have to pay
Hmm.
tax on that. So there's not that many Australians left on board the ships, and like I said, for Americans, it's the same. It's they just have to pay tax, and it just might not be worth it for them.
Nice. So it sounds like pretty fun though, just to be able to travel the world, and I mean you get paid to do it, so that sounds kind of like a win-win, and you get to have a lot of food. So it's sounds pretty good to me. I look into that in the
Yeah.
future. I've
Well,
taken. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
so now that I used to work on ships and now I travel as passenger and I
Hmm.
absolutely love it. It's like going home and I miss like the comforts of the cruise. So probably the first time I went back in 2013, there
Hmm.
was like mac and cheese and it just brought back so many happy memories and some key lime pie.
Hmm.
It's just those little things that I missed and I loved and great.
Hmm. So what was we have Kevin Colley asking, what's sorry, this is from Party Patty Martin. What's your favorite souvenir that you brought back? Mine was definitely hot sauce or anything food related. What do you guys normally kind of bring back on the ships?
Ah, I got 2 masks from Venice that I brought and brought back home and loved them. Even actually, and a sombrero in Mexico. That
Hmm.
was pretty cool. So you buy these random things from throughout the world. So,
Is there anything you're not allowed to bring back on the ship?
ooh, drugs?
I
No,
wasn't
not that
sure
I'm
with like
aware of.
alcohol on ports.
Um, oh, no, I think we could bring back alcohol.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. We have a couple more questions coming in. So, with all these different ports you visited, what's your favorite port? Tom Schultz asks.
Oh, I love Key West.
Mhm.
I've had great many a time there. Love it. I love the French Riviera. One of the first places I cruised to as well is Bermuda, which is
Hmm.
beautiful.
So, going to all these different places around the world, do you guys have quite a bit of language interpreters on there? Have you picked up any extra languages?
I personally haven't, but
Hmm.
in guest relations, they have people that speak 7 different languages, or in the tour operators on board, yeah, 5 different languages, which is just amazing. It's very cool.
So, speaking about remembering different types of languages and names, Kevin Colley asks, how do the crew members remember different passenger names all the time, especially when the ship's client changes every 3 to 10 days?
Yeah, it's definitely a skill, and you definitely do it. It's very important to call the passengers by their name because it just really makes them feel
Hmm.
special. And yes, that was huge, huge.
Do you guys have like any pictures of us with like names next to them to kind of remember, almost like flashcards, or is it just like I gotta remember these names? Mm-mm. Ooh.
No, no, it's it's also their personalities, and you meet them as an individual, and you
Hmm.
remember their names because they're pretty awesome too.
Nice. I can barely remember some of my high school professors' names, and I've had them for over a year, so that's a pretty amazing talent to have. We have a question from Ron Hiller asking, "What was the craziest thing you saw happen in the casino?"
I was in Europe, and there was a gentleman who was playing in the casino, and he was sort of getting a bit rowdy, and we had to go over and tell him to sort of calm down. And he was like, "Leave me alone, leave me alone. If you don't leave me alone,
Hmm.
I'll go to the casino next door." And it was like, "What?" And he was like, "Oh, look, go to don't treat me right, don't treat me nice, I'm out of
Hmm.
here." And I was like, "I'd like to see that. I'd like to see you go next door." And it was like, "Sir, where do you think you are?" And
Hmm.
he's like, "I'm in Vegas. I'm in Vegas. I got the red
Oh
eye. Leave
no.
me alone. Go away." So, but the next night he was in and it was completely fine. So I don't know if he was jet lagged or if
Hmm.
he was on some medication, but yeah.
So, talking about some crazy different things, we got a pretty interesting question coming from Jason Tyler. Do naked cruises really exist? I heard about the February 5th cruise on the Pride leaving in Tampa about a naked cruise. If so, have you ever had the fortune or misfortune of working on one, or have heard any stories from other crew members?
I have not been on one myself. I have heard of them, but I was talking to my husband today and sort of confirming. But it was like, what do they do in the casino when they have to sit at the table? So I don't know if they have to put like a little napkin down or something. But I have another story where there was noise complaints from passengers about a certain cabin, and
Mhm.
they sent security up there, and they were making a pornographic film inside the cabin.
Interesting. How did that turn out for them? What did they say? Just like don't do that, or
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they shut it down.
interesting, interesting. So we covered, going on the cruise, your first day of the ship. So what happens if you miss a port day, or like you just miss the ship entirely? Do you get fired, a warning, or what happens?
So it is definitely a fireable offence. They will let you go. Saying that, I had two friends that missed a ship in Key West because they were attacked, robbed. So they got to keep their jobs, but
Hmm.
definitely you will be fired, and it is pretty rare. Another time that crew would miss the ship maybe was through a medical reason that they couldn't get
Hmm.
back to the ship.
Speaking about medicine, how is the medicine being provided on the ship? If there's someone who is pretty sick, are you able to accommodate that, or do they kind of rely on the port the next time they visit there?
Yep, so the medical centre on board, that is what we use and as well. And then absolutely if we need to, we go.
It's not working. Internet's down here. Hers is down. Okay, so we are having some slight technical difficulties while we get this sorted out. There is a slight connectivity issue, but don't worry, my wine glass is still partially full, so I can chug that while I have this little break here. I can make large gulping noises, so it helps better emphasize the chugging. Don't worry. Hmm. Sorry, guys. Don't worry. Audio is still going on, though, so you can hear my wonderful voice. This is just more practice for me becoming a radio talk show. We got Pippa back, so we can still see her. You can see that wonderful half smile I'm cracking over there. So let's bring back some more questions and fix our little video later on. So this one comes from Zach, the camera guy. Oh, sorry, I already got that one. This one is what is the item that you need to have for traveling that's very hard to find on the ship? For example, is toothpaste provided? Do you have to kind of stock up on different supplies of that nature? Or what's something that's kind of a necessary item to have but might be kind of hard to find?
I'm sorry, I can't put your words together.
So, are you able to hear me now?
Yes?
Yes. Okay. Super. So, what item that my mistake. So, what's an item that you guys really want to have that might be kind of difficult to find on the ship? For example, I don't know how common it is to have razors for shaving or some toothpaste. Is this provided, or do you kind of have to stock up on a lot of it before you leave for the next ship?
Yep. So on board the ship, we have our own crew shop that we can go and purchase things. But as I said, also when you get off the ship, you can go to Walgreens and buy your supplies there as well. What I mostly missed on board the ship was a big bed, a queen size bed,
Mm-hmm.
and a bath. And being on land at night time, they're very just simple little things that I would miss. And I still do now. I go outside at night and go, gee, I'm on land at night time.
So, what's the biggest luxury that you miss on land? Is it just the sleeping, or do you think you kind of miss being able to roam around a lot more? Or do you feel confined on the ship? What's the biggest
Yep.
thing that you miss?
The biggest thing that I would miss would be my family,
Hmm.
um, and just yeah, being with them, spending time with them. So, but yeah, no, the ship life was good.
Nice. So we got our video back. Yay. Okay, we have a couple more questions coming in. Have this one comes from Patty Martin. Have you ever seen anyone go to the brig, i.e., the jail on the ship?
No, I have not, but I can confirm there is one, and yes, and people do go there from time to time.
What does it take to be able to get thrown in the brig?
That's a great question. Um, just not complying with whatever the captain says or wants or needs.
On the ship that we went last time for our first season one on cruising.tv, the Carnival, we had to turn the ship all the way around because there was a fake man overboard call, and we believe they were kicked off the ship on the next port. So, are you actually kicked off the ship and you have to find your way back, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're thrown into the brig, you know, there must have been a good reason for it, and you will be disembarked to the next port, absolutely. And that all comes to, you know, your costs. So wherever you are in the world, you get kicked off, got a source.
Hmm.
Yep.
So we got a couple more final questions coming in. We have one from Ron Hiller. He asks, "Do the cruise lines provide space just for the crew to hang out, or areas, pool, etc.? Do you have your own special areas, or do you just kind of have to share with the passengers as well?"
Yep. So, like the crew aren't allowed to go into passenger areas. The staff are allowed to go into some passenger areas with their ID, and officers can generally go about their own way. Absolutely, on the ship, they have at the front, the back deck. They throw barbecues and parties for us, which is fantastic. We have definitely a crew bar that gets used quite a lot.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're looked after.
That's good. It's always nice to know that the ships are taking care of you guys too, and not just us. Our final question comes from Ron Donzi on Periscope. He asks, "How does the internet work? Does it work pretty well? And are crew allowed to use it? If so, do they get it for free?"
Or I didn't hear the beginning of it. What
Is the
do crew
internet
want to
pretty
use?
fast on the ship? Does it work pretty well? And are crewed allowed to use it? And the final part of that is it free for you guys to use it?
Again, sorry, I didn't hear the
Yep,
first
no
thing.
worries. We're having a slight connection. Is the internet free to use for crew members on the ship?
No, it is not free for the crew members. It's
Hmm.
actually more expensive than the passengers that, yeah, the crew have to pay. And that's why when they are in port, they run to those free hotspots, Wi-Fi's to use the internet. So they're not paying the huge prices on board the
Hmm.
ship.
It's kind of silly that you guys have to pay more than the passengers, but I mean, it kind of makes a tiny bit of sense, just that you guys are going to be using it a lot more throughout the type of contracts. Yeah, I
Yeah,
am so glad we were able to have you on the show. I learned so much about just crew life in general, and I think a lot of different people just don't really know what it's like to be on a crew member on the ship. So what do you do now? Do
absolutely.
you? I heard you have a blog, right?
I do. I have a YouTube channel that talks all about cruising from the passenger's perspective and
Hmm.
the crew member's perspective, where I talk about gratuities, I talk about drink packages, destinations, stuff like that. So, absolutely go over and check it out at Ocean Time on YouTube or my Facebook page on Ocean Time Cruising. But can I also say, Matt, that one of the big things is filling out your customer survey. Um, it's huge. If you
Hmm.
can put crew members' names in those surveys, it means so much for them. It helps them get promotions, it gives them special bonuses. So I can't highly recommend that when you're filling out those passenger surveys that they do read them, they do
Hmm.
get sent to management, and it really does mean a lot to the crew.
Nice. So next time we go on our next couple cruises, we'll make sure to definitely fill that out, and we'll tell everyone else too. So once
Awesome.
again, your blog is called Ocean Time Blog, and you can find her on YouTube as well as Facebook. Thank you so much, Pippa, for coming on our show. I hope everyone enjoyed your presence as much as I did.
Thanks, Matt.
Have a great day in Australia, as they say. Good day.
G'day, mate.
So, coming up next week, I'm taking a little bit of a break, but don't worry, don't worry. We still have a pre-recorded show, and it's featuring Rob Little. He is a awesome guy. He's been on Comedy Central as a comedian. He does different comedy routines on the ships for different comedy nights there. I had such an amazing time talking to him. Again, it's a pre-recorded show, but it's still going to be on at Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, just like every other time. Bird and myself are also going to be in the comments for the video going live, so we'll still be able to chit chat with you there. And if you guys know anyone else you want to have on the show, let us know or let them contact us at zach@cruising.tv, and we'll try to get a hold of them and rearrange some things in the future. So I'm so excited though because I have Christmas coming up, so it'll be nice to have a little break. But don't worry, we'll still take care of you guys as well. So we have our tips and tricks video segment coming up too at one point. We want you guys to be able to send us about a 2 minute video if you guys have any tips or tricks for some ships that you've been on in the past. You can send them at zach@cruising.tv. Again, about 2 minutes long for your tips and tricks. Tell us what ship you went on and some different information about yourself, and we can feature on the segment in the future. Our next spring break cruise is going to be March 27th, booked through Kelly Brewer Travel with Cruise Life. I cannot wait. I have worked so hard. I've had some eye issues. I've had a lot of stress in my life, so it's going to be so nice to be able to go on a nice mini vacation. I really need it. It's going to be March 27th to April 1st on the Carnival Triumph. And you can bet your bottom dollar I'm also going to go for that drink package again because you can't just go on the ship and not imbibe a little bit. We're gonna have the meet and greet where we're gonna have wonderful guests come around and we're gonna do live streams all the time. I cannot wait to meet new people and just get along with everyone again. It's so nice to have new friends. So we're going to cover different places on the ship, some different bars, different activities, as well as doing some live streaming on the islands. So you guys have all that fun stuff to look forward to. And again, that's March 27th with Cruise Life through Kelly Brewer Travel. So season two is coming up so quickly. We're getting some sponsorships here and there from you guys. Thank you so much for your guys' donations. The next season two officially is going to be October 29th with Carnival Cruisers Past, Present, and Future. And it's going to be a 6-day cruise coming out of Miami on the Carnival Vista. That's gonna be the big one. I don't really know what it's gonna be like. It's gonna be so cool to have some new first-time cruisers on, especially a mix of guys and girls who have never been on a cruise before. It'll be kind of fun to show them the ropes here and there and make their own mistakes. So make sure you guys check that out, and we're gonna have some more sponsorship and ads coming up for that. Cannot wait to talk about it. So if you guys want to support us like so many of you other wonderful people have, you can go to cruiseweek.com/support and we will mention you in our special inner circle group where you can come on in. If you donate some money to us, you can come to the Cruise Week Season 2 special inner circle where we get some more updates and some hidden features that might not be completely public yet. So check us out over there. Thank you guys so much too. If you really enjoyed our show or our guests or just like cruise in general, give us a like, throw us some comments in below, and share us with your friends. Like I said, we always like to make new friends here and there. Yeah, so like us, share us, definitely subscribe to us so you know when we go live every single time on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got Facebook, Periscope, and throughout the week occasionally too. Usually I like to do a weekly little kind of podcast on my car ride to work, let you know how my week's going, and then usually around Wednesday or Tuesday night, myself and Zach the camera guy come online, just do a little quick chit chat with you all. Thanks guys so much. I cannot wait to see you guys Ooh, it's not going to be next time. I'll see you in a little bit in January. Well, that's the show for today. And as always, we'll see you on the ships.